The student didn't believe what she saw when she saw her brother's wheelchair. His gaze shrunk, and his heart began to beat strongly at his chest. Hello. Don't forget to register, like, and leave a comment below. Mariana thought it was a normal Saturday morning. The sun penetrated lazily through the fringes of his bedroom curtain and painted the wooden floor with golden strips. She leant herself slowly as she smelled the freshly exhausted coffee from the kitchen. Donna Helena, her mother, used to wake up early to prepare the family's breakfast. Mariana got up from the bed, put on her sneakers, and, still asleep, walked to the bathroom. While brushing his teeth, he looked at his reflection in the mirror and smiled. She was about to start studying medicine at the age of 18. Inspired by his father's tireless work, Dr. Roberto, a renowned cardiac surgeon. After getting dressed, Mariana went down the stairs, jumping 2 by 2 the steps, as she used to do since childhood. As he approached the kitchen, he felt a strong smell of fresh bread and mixed eggs. She heard the sound of the television in the living room, probably her father watching the morning news. "Good morning, Mom," Mariana said when she entered the kitchen. Donna Helena, a middle-aged woman with a welcoming smile and gray hair, turned to her daughter. "Good morning, buddy." Putting a pancakes plate on the table, she asked, "Did you sleep well?" Mariana sat down at the table to drink orange juice. She asked about her younger brother, 16-year-old Lucas. In the air, there was an instant silence. Mrs. Helena hesitated for a moment before giving a reply. "Your brother is still asleep. You've had a tough night." When her mother spoke, Mariana broke the ashes. She couldn't ignore a note of concern. "Mom, has anything happened?" Sitting at the table with her daughter, Donna Helena sighed. "Mariana, we need to discuss something, although your father and I would have waited for the right moment." Currently, Dr. Roberto approached the kitchen. Deep eyelids covered his usually calm face, as if he hadn't slept all night. "Good morning, family," he said, forcing an invisible smile. Mariana looked at each other with anxiety rising in her chest. "What's going on right now?" "You scare me." Before turning to his daughter, Roberto looked at his wife. "Mariana, after you went to bed last night, Lucas had an accident." Mariana's heart seemed to stop. "An incident? What kind of accident am I talking about? Is he all right?" Doctor continued saying, "He was coming back from a party with some friends." "Your voice is trembling, Roberto." "The driver was drunk. On their way home, they hit a tree." Mariana felt the blood flowing on her face. She couldn't hold the glass of juice because her hands began to shake. "However, it's in great condition, isn't it? Make sure he's all right." With tears in her eyes, Mrs. Helena held her daughter's hand. "Honey, he's alive. However, difficulties have arisen. The accident had a significant impact on Luke's spine." Mariana whispered as she asked what that meant. Dr. Roberto took a deep breath before continuing. "That implies that—" "Mariana, Lucas may not walk again. The doctors tried everything, but the damage to the spinal cord was severe." Mariana's world seemed to collapse around her. She rose up abruptly and scratched the chair against the kitchen floor. "No, it's not possible. You're just kidding, aren't you? Is that a kind of bad joke?" Her parents watched her with a combination of sadness and compassion. Mrs. Helena, with her embarrassed voice, said, "I wanted it, daughter. But it is the reality that we are now facing." Mariana felt her cheeks filled with tears. She ran from the kitchen to Lucas's room without saying anything. She felt the beating of her heart so strong that she could hear it in her ears. She hesitated for a moment when she reached the door of her brother's room. Then he gathered all his strength and turned the blade to enter. After that, the student saw her brother's wheelchair and couldn't believe what she saw. She leaned onto the wall next to Lucas's bed. A bright black wheelchair, a cruel symbol of the new life that his family faced. Lucas was lying in bed with his eyes closed in a deep sleep. Part of his face and arms were covered with bandages, and his neck was immobilized by a necklace on his waist. Mariana gradually approached, as if she feared any sudden movement could hurt her brother even more. "Lucas?" she asked in a trembling voice. Looking at his sister's face, Luke slowly opened his eyes. His wounded lips exhibited a weak smile. "Hi, Mari," he said in a rough, low voice. Mariana sat on the bedside and gently held her brother's hand. "How are you now?" For a moment, Lucas closed his eyes, as if he was gathering forces to react. Trying to look playful, he replied, "As if he had been struck by a truck." Mariana felt her eyes fall with full force. "Lucas, I'm feeling a lot. I feel that way too." Luke gently shrugged his sister's hand, saying, "It's not your fault, Mari. It was a ridiculous accident. I should have taken more precautions." Mariana looked at the wheelchair with a feeling of anger and despair. "The doctors advised you not to." "To walk again?" Luke asked with a surprisingly quiet voice. "They informed me of that. However, at least now I have an excuse for not completing homework, don't I?" Despite the situation, Mariana couldn't help but laugh. Even in such a difficult situation, her brother tried to make her smile. One of the things she appreciated most about him was that. Mariana gently said she shouldn't say that. "Let's deal with it together, okay? I will be by your side at every stage." Lucas noticed the sister's shame and said, "It's all right, Mari. You can use words like taking a step or something. I'm not going to be ashamed just to mention walking." Mariana agreed, grateful for her brother's ability to understand. She was amazed and asked, "How can you be so strong?" Given the cervical necklace, Lucas shouldered, or at least tried to do so. "I don't have many choices, do I? Besides, someone in this family needs to be a mature adult, and you clearly will not." Mariana laughed again, gently touching her brother's arm. "Idiot. You're 2 years older than me." Luke joked, saying, "And yet I am the one who has to comfort you." The two remained silent for a moment, only appreciating each other's presence. Mariana looked at the room and noticed that everything seemed so normal. The wall with posters of rock bands, the shelf full of books and comics, and a video game in the corner. Their lives had changed so much in one single night. "Mari?" Lucas called, his voice now more serious. "Could you ask me something?" "Of course, anything," replied Mariana swiftly. Luke looked directly into the sister's eyes and said, "Don't give up your dreams for my sake. I have no doubt that you are about to enter the medical course. I don't want you to refuse that or change your plans because of me." Mariana felt a knot in her throat forming. In fact, she was already thinking of postponing her studies to help her brother recover from the accident. "Lucas, you'll need some help. I can't go away and let you and our parents deal with all this on their own." Lucas bent his head slightly. "Mari, you won't leave us. That will be the realization of your dream. Besides, do you know one thing? Seeing you become a doctor will inspire me even more to recover. Maybe one day you can be my physiotherapist." Through the tears, Mariana smiled. "You know, like my father, I intend to specialize in heart surgery." Lucas joked, "Well, then maybe you can invent some kind of bionic heart that makes me walk again." Mariana laughed, saying that doesn't make any sense. "Hey, I'm the one with a head full of trouble here." Lucas replied with a dumb smile, "I have a right to make no sense." At that moment, Dr. Donna Helena and Roberto entered the room. They seemed to have spent years in one night, but their eyes shone with determination. "How are my champions?" Dr. Roberto, trying to stay calm. Luke said, "We're all right, Father. Mari and I just talked about how she can become the best doctor in the world and create a heart that makes me walk." Doctor confused, Roberto raised his eyebrow. "Son, I think they've increased the dose of your painkillers." Everyone laughed, and the atmosphere calmed down for a moment. Donna Helena approached the bed and carefully aligned Lucas's pillows. "Have you had breakfast yet?" she asked, looking at Mariana. Mariana gave a sign of approval. "No, my mom. When I found out, I immediately went to the venue. Mrs. Helena suggested, 'Well, let's all have coffee together then. For Lucas to recover, she needs food.' Doctor agreed to the idea. 'Robert, I'm going to ask the nurse to bring a tray for Lucas, so we can eat here with him.' Mariana focused on her brother as her parents went out to prepare breakfast. 'Are you sure you feel comfortable? Do you still need anything?' Lucas smiled. 'I'm doing fine, Mari. Just stay here with me, okay?' Mariana gently shrugged her brother's hand and stood down. 'Always.' The routine of the Oliveira family changed completely in the following days. They all saw the hospital as their second home. Mariana spent all her free time with Lucas, reading to him, talking about different things, or simply making silent company when he was too tired to talk. To ensure that Lucas received the best possible treatment, Roberto used all of his connections in the medical world. Spinal cord injuries experts were consulted, new treatments were discussed, and an intensive rehabilitation strategy was developed. Donna Helena has become a true warrior. She thoroughly investigated alternative therapies, home adaptations, and family support groups in similar situations. His determination infected everyone around him, inspiring them to maintain hope. Lucas was transferred to a specialized rehabilitation center a week after the accident. The change was necessary so that he could receive the necessary intensive care, but everyone was frightened by the idea of leaving the family hospital. Mariana arrived at the hospital early in the morning of the transfer. She discovered that Lucas was already awake and looked out the window with a reflective expression. "Good morning, I'm asleep," she said, entering the room with a forced smile. Lucas turned to her and tried to smile her back. "Good night, Mari. Are you ready for the big day?" Mariana sat on the bedside, as she had done the week before. "I should have asked." "How are you now?" Lucas breathed. "Really? With fear. Besides, what happens if I can't adapt to the new location? What if the quality of the doctors there isn't the same as here?" Mariana held her brother's hand firmly. "Hey, it's gonna be all right." Dad looked at all the information about this recovery center. Among the best in the country he is. Besides, you will not feel helpless. Everyone will be present with you. Luke expressed concern in his voice when he asked, "But what about your faculty? Class starts in 2 weeks, right?" Mariana refused. In fact, she had not yet made a definitive decision on postponing her studies. Although one part of her wanted to stay and help her brother all the time, another knew that Lucas would be disappointed if she abandoned her dreams in favor of him. Finally, she said, "Don't worry about it now. We're going to focus on you and your recovery, right?" Before Lucas could give an answer, Dr. Donna Helena and Roberto entered the room, followed by a medical team. "It's time to start the transfer." "Good morning, children," exclaimed Dr. Robert, trying to stay excited. "Are you ready for the big leap?" Although his expression demonstrated his anguish, Luke agreed. Mariana held her hand in silence. The activity intensified the next hour. At the last moment, the nurses checked Luke's vital signs and verified that all his belongings were well packed. Then they started the process of transferring it to a transport mace. Mariana was looking at everything with a knot in her throat. It was very difficult to see his brother, who was always full of life and vitality, now immobile and dependent on other people to move. Lucas looked at Mariana with begging eyes when it was finally time to leave the room. "Mari, you're going with me to the ambulance, aren't you?" She quickly replied, "Of course. I won't leave you alone." The walk to the rehabilitation center was calm and stressful. Through the way, Mariana held Lucas's hand, trying to convey comfort and strength through the touch. An obvious sign of her nervousness, she felt the trembling in her brother's hands. Upon arrival at their new location, They were welcomed by a team of friendly professionals. The doctor in charge of Lucas's case, Sofia Mendez, was waiting for them at the entrance. "Welcome to New Hope Rehabilitation Clinic," she announced enthusiastically. "You must belong to the Oliveira family." I'm supervising Lucas's care, Sofia." Dr. Roberto grabbed his colleague's hand. "Thank you very much, Dr. Sofia. The clinic received positive reviews." "We will do our best to take good care of Lucas," she assured. "Sofia." She then went back to the young patient. "And you need to be Lucas. Are you ready to start your recovery?" Lucas smiled forcibly. "I believe so, doctor." "Great," said Dr. Sofia. "I'll take a tour of the clinic for you and your family after taking you to your room." Lucas's room in the hospital was smaller and less comfortable than that of the clinic. The walls were painted in gentle and soothing tones, and a large window gave for a well-maintained garden. While helping Lucas settle in his new bed, the nursing team found physical therapy equipment in one corner of the bedroom. "What's all this for?" she asked Dr. Sofia. The doctor explained, "These are the equipment we'll use in Lucas's rehabilitation. Here we take a very proactive stance. To prevent muscle atrophy and maintain healthy circulation, we will start with light exercises when Lucas is ready." Mariana accepted, feeling a mixture of anxiety and hope. Although Lucas was sure to receive such specialized care, he was also concerned about the prospect of a prolonged recovery. After Lucas's correct installation, Dr. Sofia took them to the clinic. They observed physiotherapy rooms with state-of-the-art equipment, a hydrotherapy pool, occupational therapy rooms, and even a small therapeutic garden. "Besides that," said Doctor, "the door of a room full of computers is opened by Sofia. She says it's our virtual reality room. We help our patients reconnect with their bodies and relearn movements using cutting-edge technology." Since the accident, Lucas's eyes shone for the first time. He proved to be intrigued and said, "This looks incredible." Her brother's genuine interest made Mariana smile. It was a small representation of Lucas's usual curiosity and enthusiasm for new technologies. They returned to Lucas's room when the tour ended. Dr. Sofia patiently answered all the family's questions and explained the initial treatment plan. "Any final question?" she asked. Luke hesitated for a moment before making a statement. "Doctor, be honest with me, Sofia. What are the odds that I will walk again?" The room was in a tense silence. Mariana was worried about the answer and held her breath. Dr. Sofia fixed her gaze on Lucas's eyes. "Lucas, medicine is progressing every day. New technologies and therapeutic methods are always emerging. Although I cannot guarantee you will walk again, I can guarantee that we will make every effort to improve your recovery and quality of life. Focusing on every small step you make right now is crucial." "So good?" Lucas replied slowly. "Well, thank you for your sincerity." After Doctor, the family remained silent for a few moments after Sofia's departure, absorbing the information and feelings of the day. Mrs. Helena finally pronounced, "I think we should let Lucas rest a little." "Honey, it must have been a tough day for you." Lucas agreed, with the clear fatigue on his face. "Yes, I'm very tired." Dr. Roberto approached the bed and kissed his forehead. "Rest, Winner. We'll be back early tomorrow." Donna Helena also said goodbye with a careful hug and a kiss. She hesitated when Mariana's turn came. "Do you want me to stay?" she asked lowly. Lucas smiled little. "Hours, Mari. You should also go home and rest. You know you haven't slept well since then." Mariana struggled not to cry. "Well, but whatever. You can contact me. At any point. Did you understand?" "I understood, idiot," Lucas joked. "Before I change my mind and ask you to read comic books to me every night, go now." Mariana laughed and hugged her brother for the last time before leaving. She found her parents waiting for her in the hallway. Mrs. Helena looked at her daughter's dizzy eyes and asked, "Are you all right, sweetheart?" Mariana exhaled deeply. I'll stay. It's just hard to leave him here alone. Dr. Roberto's arm covered his daughter's shoulders. Mari, I understand. Lucas, on the other hand, is in good hands here, and we'll be back before he understands. Mariana continued to look at the building where her brother now lived as they walked to the parking lot. She made a secret promise to herself and Lucas. She would do everything she could to help him on that journey, regardless of the difficulties. Mariana woke up early the next morning because she wanted to get to the clinic before Lucas's physical therapy sessions began. She wanted to be there to help and encourage her brother during his first day of rehabilitation. She came to Lucas's room and found him awake, reading a magazine, distracted. "Good morning. I'm asleep." She smiled as she entered the room. "Are you ready for the big day?" Luke raised his eyes, his face with a mixture of anxiety and relief. "Oh, Mari, I didn't expect to see you so soon." On the edge of the bed, she joked, "As if I was going to miss your first day of superhero training." "What's the plan for today?" Lucas breathed. "Looks like I'm going to start with some basic physical therapy sessions. The nurse said it is more important to evaluate my current condition and start acting to avoid complications." Mariana gave up, trying to stay agitated. "That seems to be a good start. Do I need to stay with you during the sessions?" Before Lucas could make an answer, Dr. A, tall, muscular man, followed Sophia into the room. "Good night, Lucas." "I see you already have company," said Dr. Smiling Sophia, Dr. Andre, the team's chief physiotherapist. "Today he will have his first session." As he approached, Andrew stretched out his hand to Luke. "Lucas, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm looking forward to starting to work with you." Lucas seemed a little intimidated when he shrugged the physiotherapist's hand. "Also, Doctor," said, "and you must be the sister." Andrew returning to Mariana. "Would you like to participate in the session? From time to time, it is useful to have a family member present to learn some techniques that can be used beyond formal sessions." Mariana looked at Lucas, hoping he would accept her. "Yes, I would love to," she replied, gently sitting down. Although considered light, the first session of physiotherapy was intense. Dr. Andrew began examining Luke's sensitivity and mobility in various parts of the body. He then did passive exercises by gently moving Lucas's arms and legs to maintain his flexibility. Mariana observed everything carefully, occasionally asking and offering encouragement when she saw Luke struggling with pain or discomfort. "Doctor, you're doing very well, Lucas," he said. "Andre, after completing a series of difficult exercises, your determination is impressive." Lucas just sat down, sweaty and drowning. Mariana had tired eyes, but also a glow of pride for having completed the session. After physiotherapy, there was a short lunch period before an occupational therapy session. The therapist, Dr. Camilla, helped Lucas with everyday things like dressing and eating independently. Lucas was exhausted at the end of the day, but he felt fulfillment. Mariana helped him settle down in bed and asked, "How are you feeling?" Lucas closed his eyes for a moment before making any comments. "I'm tired. Dried, but I don't know. Maybe a little optimistic?" Mariana smiled as her eyes filled with tears. "Lucas, that's fantastic. You did a fantastic job today," Lucas said emotionally. "Thank you for being here, Mari. Without you, I don't know if I'd have." Mariana held her brother's hand firmly. "We're a team, aren't we? That unites us." At that moment, Dr. Roberto and Donna Helena entered the room with dinner prepared for the family. "How was your first day, champion?" Dr. Robert puts the food bags on the table. Lucas took a deep breath before giving a reply. "It was exciting. However, I believe it was good. The health professionals and the people who work with them are exceptional." Donna Helena approached the bed and affectionately passed her hand through the hair of her son. "Honey, we're very proud of you. We know it's hard, but you're fighting with a lot of courage." The next night was spent by the family having dinner and talking about the day. Lucas gave details about his sessions, and Mariana told what she saw. Dr. Roberto and Donna Helena listened carefully, asking some questions and occasionally offering support. Mariana hesitated once again when it was time to leave. "Lucas, do you really want me to stay?" Tired but grateful, Lucas smiled. "Yes, Mari. Besides, you should rest. Besides, tomorrow will be another busy day." Mariana stood down and hugged her brother to the end before leaving. She turned to her parents in the hallway. "I was considering postponing the start of college for a semester to stay in this place and help Lucas." Dr. Donna Helena and Roberto exchanged concerned gazes. Her father began by telling Mari, "We understand your desire to help, but you can't leave your life behind." Lucas liked that. Mrs. Helena continued saying, "Your father is right, darling. Now, the best way to help Lucas is to keep pursuing his own dreams. This will increase your determination to recover," Mariana whispered, knowing that her parents were right, but still felt divided. "I understand. It's hard to think about leaving him right now." The daughter was hugged by Roberto. "Mary, nobody said it would be easy. You two are, however, very powerful. Even separated, they'll overcome that together." Mariana looked back into the window of Lucas's room when they left the clinic that night. She was aware that Lucas and she would face many obstacles in the coming days, weeks, and months. But I also knew they would unite to face everything, as they always did. The following weeks were filled with physical therapy sessions, medical consultations, and intense emotional moments. Although there were moments of frustration and discouragement, Luke faced every day with a determination that surprised everyone. Mariana balanced her visits to the clinic with preparations for the start of college. She learned strategies to help him move in bed and exercises that she could do with Lucas. She even learned how to operate the wheelchair that he would use when he got lifted. Lucas made great progress in a month of rehabilitation. He was gaining more control over his upper body movements and was beginning to feel sensitivity in his legs, but still could not move them on his own. Lucas was sitting in his wheelchair with a wide smile when Mariana arrived at the clinic on Saturday afternoon. When he saw her, he yelled, "Mari! Look at that." Lucas tried to raise his arms above his head, but failed since the accident. Mariana felt her eyes filled with tears. She ran to hug her brother and said, "Lucas, that's fantastic. I'm extremely proud of you." Lucas hugged with astonishing strength and laughed. Dr. Andre said, "I'm progressing at a faster rate than they expected. The road is still long, but that gives me hope, you know." Mariana wiped her tears and sat down. "I agree. Brother, you deserve all the hope of the world." At this point, as she entered the room, Sophia smiled when she saw the scene. "Ah, I realize Lucas has already shown you his new trick, Mariana." "Yes, teacher," Mariana exclaimed. "It's impressive." Dr. Sophia approached with a more serious appearance. "There's something I'd like to talk to you about." "Lucas, Mariana, we believe that a new experimental therapy can help cases like Lucas's. Would you be interested in participating in a clinical trial?" Lucas and Mariana looked at each other. Luke asked with curiosity and fear, "What kind of therapy?" Doctor explained that it is a mixture of electrical stimulation of the spinal cord and stem cell therapy. Sophia. Preliminary results have been promising, showing significant improvements in motor function in patients with similar injuries to yours. Mariana felt her heart beating fast. "Would that make Lucas walk again?" Dr. Sophia hesitated. "It is essential to maintain realistic expectations. Although we have observed significant improvements in some patients, each case is individualized. Although we cannot guarantee that Lucas will walk again, we believe that this therapy can significantly improve his quality of life and functionality." Lucas remained silent for a moment and worked on the data. Finally, He asked a question. What are the risks? Doctor, he admitted that, like any medical procedure, there are risks. Sophia. Electrical stimulation can cause discomfort or occasionally neurological complications. Stem cell therapy also brings risks, such as rejection or tumor formation. But these are very rare. Mariana looked at her brother and tried to understand his expression. Lucas, what's your opinion? Lucas took a deep breath before giving a reply. I think I want to try. If there's a chance to improve my condition, I want to take advantage of it. Dr. Sophia said no. I understand. I'll provide all the documentation and details of the study. You will have time to analyze all things and talk to your family before you come to a final decision. Mariana sat next to Lucas's wheelchair after the doctor left. Lucas, are you sure? I don't want you to feel compelled to act in a way that you do not want. Lucas smiled at his sister. Yes, Mari. As you know, going through all this made me realize how wrong I was before. I want to try to recover some of what I've lost, if there's a chance. Mariana assented with a mixture of concern and pride. Well, no matter what happens, I'll be by your side. In the following weeks, the Oliveira family met frequently to discuss Lucas's inclusion in a clinical trial. Dr. While Donna Helena was tirelessly researching the experiences of other patients, Roberto used her medical contacts to get more information about the therapy. Finally, after much discussion, Lucas signed the papers to participate in the study. Treatment would begin in a month, the time needed to prepare everything and take the preliminary examinations. The eve of the start of treatment coincided with Mariana's departure to college. Although her heart was still heavy, she had made the decision to continue her studies. Mariana went to Lucas's room at the clinic that night. Looking out the window, he found him sitting in his wheelchair. Hi, she cried gently. Can I come in? When he saw his sister, Lucas smiled. All right, Mari, come here. Mariana approached and sat in front of her brother in bed. They remained silent for a moment and only appreciated each other's presence. Luke began by saying, Then tomorrow is the big day. We both. Mariana felt a knot forming in her throat when she sat down. Lucas, I'm so sorry to not be here at the time your treatment begins. Lucas stretched out his sister's hand while holding it. Mari, I'm sorry. The fact that you keep pursuing your dreams gives me more strength to fight for mine. Mariana started tearing and smiling. Promise you'll call me every day to inform me of the state of affairs. Only if you promise to tell me all the college gossip, said Lucas with a dull smile. Mariana felt the tension lessen when she laughed. Complete. They spent the following hours talking, recalling their childhood memories, and projecting the future. Mariana hugged her brother firmly when it was time to leave. She said emotionally, I love you, Lucas. You're the best person I know. Lucas hugged again. His voice trembled. I love you too, Mari. It is very appreciated that you have been my driving force all this time. She looked back one last time before leaving the room. Luke smiled and his eyes shone with determination. She knew at that moment that they would face together, as they always did, no matter what the future reserved. The next day, Lucas began his first session of experimental treatment while Mariana was traveling on the train that would take her to her new college life. Both were anxious and frightened, but mostly hopeful. The road would be long and difficult, but the strength of brotherly love would guide them through all obstacles. One day, Mariana may find Lucas not only sitting in his wheelchair, but standing, ready to begin her journey to a bright future. Mariana looked out the window as the train accelerated, taking her away from her hometown, with her heart filled with conflicting feelings. The family landscape was disappearing, but she still carried the love, hope, and memories that linked her to Lucas and his family. A message arrived on your phone. Lucas was, Excellent trip, Mari. Remember, even when we are separated, we are stronger together. Dr. Yu will rule the world. Eagle! Mariana felt a wave of determination and warmth spreading throughout her body as she smiled. His answer was, "Thank you, Lucas. You are the source of my inspiration. I'm looking forward to knowing how your first day of treatment was. Let's win all this together." Mariana lay down in the seat, thinking of the phone and the brother she was leaving behind. She knew that she and Lucas would face many obstacles in the coming months, or maybe years. Besides, he knew that the connection and love they shared was stronger than any physical distance. Lucas was preparing for his first experimental treatment session at the rehabilitation clinic. He breathed deeply while lying on his waist, trying to relax. Dr. Andre was by his side and explained every step of the process. "Remember, Lucas," said the physiotherapist with an encouraging smile. "It's going to be a long way, but we're here to help you at every step." Lucas agreed and closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of Mariana, her parents, and all those who supported him. He opened his eyes with a new wave of determination and said, "I am ready. Let's get started." So Lucas began his recovery journey, as Mariana began her academic journey. Two brothers who followed different paths, but united by a bond of hope and unbreakable love. Both faced difficulties in the first few weeks. Mariana completely plunged into her medical studies, determined to learn as much as possible. His nights were spent studying anatomy and physiology, and his days were spent in classes and laboratories. She always found time to call Lucas every day, eager to know how he was going, despite his exhausting work. Lucas, in turn, had daily problems. The experimental treatment was difficult and often painful. Stem cell therapy left him exhausted and nauseous, while electrical stimulation of the spinal cord made him strange and sometimes uncomfortable. However, with every new feeling on his legs and every small advance, he felt more motivated to continue. During one of her daily calls a month after the start of treatment, Lucas gave Mariana exciting news. He said enthusiastically, "Mari, you won't believe it. I managed to move my toes today during physiotherapy. It was just a little bit, but Dr. Andre said that this is a very positive sign." Mariana felt her eyes filled with tears. "Hey, Lucas, that's fantastic. I'm extremely proud of you," Luke said with determination. "This is only the beginning. I will continue to make efforts. Who knows, I might be doing something until Christmas." Mariana smiled with a mixture of caution and hope. "One step at a time, brother. However, I'm sure you will." Both Mariana and Lucas have had ups and downs over the months. Mariana felt overwhelmed by the pressure of her studies and constant concern for her brother in certain days. Lucas, in turn, went through moments of frustration when it seemed that his progress was stalled. On a difficult night, after a treatment session that had not gone as well as expected, Lucas called Mariana with her trembling voice of emotion. He sounded defeated, admitting, "Mari, I don't know if I can continue. What if everything doesn't work out? What if I can't walk any longer?" Hearing her brother's disappointed voice, Mariana felt her heart squeezing. "Lucas, listen to me," she insisted. "You're the most powerful individual I know. No one could have imagined that he could overcome so many things. Don't give up right now. However, if—" Mariana interrupted with the phrase, "without and if." "Remember what you told me before you started studying? That we are stronger when we are together than when we're separated." "Lucas, that hasn't changed. Every step of the way, I'll be with you." After a period of silence, Lucas replied with a slightly stronger voice, "Mari, you're right. Thank you for not abandoning me. Always, brother. Always." Anxiety and expectation increased as Mariana's semester came to an end and winter holidays approached. She could hardly wait to go home and see Lucas closely as he had advanced. Mariana received a mysterious message from her mother on the eve of her return. "Dear, when you get home tomorrow, go straight to the clinic. We have a gift ready for you." Mariana could barely sleep that night because she was intrigued and a little worried. She had her heart beating accelerated as she took a taxi to the rehabilitation clinic when her train arrived at the station the next morning. Mariana stopped suddenly when she entered Lucas's room, not sure what she was seeing. His brother was there, standing, backed in parallel bars, with Dr. Andrew next to him. Luke smiled a lot, saying, "Surprise, Mari." Mariana shouted joyfully and ran to embrace her brother, tears running through her face. "Congratulations. You're sitting." "How?" Luke firmly replied the embrace, saying, "Many hard work and a little miraculous science. I can't walk alone yet, but I'm getting better every day." Doctor observing the exciting scene, Andre smiled. "Lucas was an exceptional patient. Your resolution is really inspiring." Mariana turned away and looked at her brother. "Lucas, I'm very proud of you. You're fantastic." In his own eyes shone tears. Lucas smiled. "Without you, Mari, I'd have. Your daily contacts and your unceasing support were of the utmost importance to me." At that moment, Dr. Roberto and Donna Helena entered the room with radiant faces of joy when they saw their children gathered together. Donna Helena hugged Mariana and hugged her again. Doctor in a face full of pride, Roberto laid his hand on Lucas's shoulder. "Son, how about we show your sister what you've done?" Luke firmly stood in his eyes. He began to take small steps between the parallel bars with great care and effort. Mariana felt that she was watching a miracle happening near her, despite each movement being slow and difficult. Everyone in the room started screaming of joy when Lucas reached the end of the bars. Mariana couldn't contain her excitement and ran to hug her brother again. "Lucas, you did it! You've achieved a lot!" Lucas smiled, though exhausted. Mariana knew for sure that in that moment of unity and hope, they would face together, as a family, no matter what challenges the future might bring. Lucas still had a long way to go, but every step, every small victory, meant there was a long road ahead. But with you by my side, I know I can overcome everything. Mariana looked at the dinner of the Oliveira family with the heart full of gratitude and love that night. She saw her brother's courage, her mother's dedication, and her father's strength. Mariana knew for sure that on that night of hope and unity, they would face together, like a family, no matter what challenges the future might bring. Luke still had a long way to go, but each of his steps, every small triumph, demonstrated the strength of the human spirit and the power of fraternal love. The family shared laughter, tears, and dreams for the future as the night advanced. Lucas said he'd like to walk alone one day, maybe until he goes back to sports. Mariana spoke about her dreams of becoming a remarkable doctor, inspired by her brother's struggle and the dedication of the doctors who treated him. Dr. Roberto and Donna Helena were proud to see their children, amazed at the love and resilience they showed each other. They knew that there was still a lot to be done, but they were also sure that if they were united, they could overcome any difficulty. Mariana helped Lucas prepare for sleep when it was finally time for them to recover. She thought about how her lives had changed in recent months as she accommodated him in bed. "You know, Lucas," she said gently, "when I saw your wheelchair for the first time, I thought our world was over. But now I realize that it was just the beginning of a new journey." Lucas grabbed his sister's hand and smiled. "A journey we're doing together, regardless of distance." Mariana assented with excitement. Always in union. Luke's wheelchair remained in the corner of the room that night, while the house was silent. It was no longer a symbol of constraint. Instead, it was a reminder of the path taken and the strength found along it. Moreover, Lucas's new athletes were by his side, almost invisible in the dark, ready for the next step in his journey. The student who once looked at her brother's wheelchair and didn't believe what she saw, now looked to the future with determination and hope. She knew that love, perseverance, and support from each other could reach the maximum. Thus, the Oliveira family prepared to face the days to come, one step at a time, with hearts full of gratitude and eyes fixed on a bright future.